the Jewish Federation system announced an initial investment of $6 million, which you can probably triple already, across the next 3 years to create the Israel Action Network. Its primary purpose will be to monitor and boycott, divestment, and sanctions movements. It will target churches, universities, grassroots organizations, and communities. You saw the list that we're proud Sabeel was on for the ADL. That's the first shot out of the every one of those groups, if I'm not mistaken, supports BDS and uses the apartheid analogy. The CEO, Jerry Silverman, said the following in the press release which came out on Tuesday. There is a very, very high sense of urgency in fighting the delegitimizing of the State of Israel. And the press focused on the BDS campaign, the use of apartheid. Presbyterian Church was mentioned twice as targets. And it said, BDS and the apartheid analogy, quote, represent an existential threat to the future of the Jewish state. But when you think of it, 6 million, which you could probably amp up to 20 million, staff will be hired by January, a whole campaign, there'll be increased monitoring the universities. The Jewish Federation is the umbrella for the major Zionist organizations. That includes the ADL B'nai B'rith, the American Jewish Committee, boards of rabbis, Hadassah, the Jewish National Fund, and about 40 or 50 others. They have regional offices in 146 cities across North America. They have constituencies in 400 districts, and they can mobilize significantly. Now, first of all, I think this is a sign that we've been effective. Thank God. But second, we are not sufficiently organized on a national level to cope with this. We may need, we're going to need to step up our work on BDS and apartheid and challenging this theology, so we give them a lot of work to do that they can't keep up with all over North America. But we've got to be smart, wise as serpents, harmless as doves, but aggressive. And our theological work, we need to get into the seminaries, challenge our pastors, but I think we need some national coordination. I think we're also going to need a defense fund for professors, clergy who take a stand and are defamed publicly. These are just thoughts. We may never get there. But my point is, we need to ratchet up our organization, our wisdom, our coordination. And I hope every denomination can rise to the challenge that we have from this. Second, we need to stay focused on nonviolent advocacy movements. Nonviolent resistance is where to go. Whether it's what Wagner was telling us to support the Gaza flotillas, maybe we need a Protestant vote. I'd rather have it be Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, and atheist vote. But we need to support these flotillas who are breaking through the unconscionable, illegal blockade of Gaza. We need to support the Curry trial. This is a very important one we heard from Cindy last night. And please, I got to do it tonight, sign that petition. Sign that petition against Catholics. We need nonviolent resistance in this nation. power, and he really deals with power, nonviolence, and the will of the people. 2/3 of it analyzes military history. And he comes to the conclusion the war system is archaic in a nuclear age. And he said, and then he develops his whole analysis of nonviolent movements. From Gandhi, Martin Luther King, but many, many others through history. And he just comes out, it's got to be nonviolent resistance. And as our Palestinian, Christian, Muslim, and our progressive Jewish friends are paying a price on the land, you heard a way to say, we cannot succeed without an international movement behind us. We've got to get on board in more ways than we are now. But BDS is one primary way. Getting people over there and altering our theology. Lastly, we need to be committed to the long haul. This is not going to be over anytime soon. This is a long-term, steady, hard struggle. We've heard several references to the widow, the parable of the widow. Naeem mentioned it. David Hosey used it a lot. One of the most important things about that parable is the persistence of the widow. She did not give up. The power imbalance was against her. But she wore the judge out, demanding justice. This is one of our models, the widow. We don't have that kind of money, the $20 million that the Federation's going to have, backed by the state of Israel and really by the U.S. government too. But we have the moral power, and that's what they're afraid of. It's no accident that they're putting this much energy into it, into fighting BTS and apartheid, because this is truth, it's accurate, and it's a moral argument that exposes the evils of the occupation and the whole system. I think too, and this isn't for everybody, Naeem mentioned Sabeel needs to develop a spirituality for the long haul. I think we need to take that seriously. Prayer, meditation, reflection, critical analysis. This was part of King's letter from the Birmingham jail. Critical reflection, an accountability group. Whether you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or secular, meditation, reflection can really center you and give you the strength to carry on. When the onslaughts come, you're defamed, and it's a long, dark struggle. I love that little story of Jesus in the boat on the Sea of Galilee. Remember that story? A storm comes up suddenly. I remember I was swimming in the Sea of Galilee once. You know how the winds come right through and are kind of channeled and are intense in parts of the Sea of Galilee as they're coming from west to east. And the winds come up suddenly, and the disciples were overwhelmed by the waves. They were afraid they were going to die. And they remember, oh yeah,